our guest by the name of Mr. Leighton Watson. Give us 3 words to describe yourself.
Ooh, 3 words to describe myself. So, passionate would definitely be one of them.
Passionate, nice.
Inspired will be another one. And
Okay.
I would say I want to use love, right? You know, like I love deeply. Like the people who are close to me, they really mean a lot to me. And so that would be my my 3rd one there. Passionate, inspired, and love.
Why? Why are you passionate? Why are you inspired? And why do you love?
Well, you know what? I think for me, you know, life is such a blessing, right? Just the fact that we are here, right? There's so many things that we can experience on a day-to-day. And I just feel like, what would life be if you're not going to be passionate about something, if you're not going to enjoy it, if you're not going to give everything, if you're not going to be able to go deeply into something, then why do it? You know, the things that I've done and the things that I've given everything that I have to it, and through that, I've found purpose, right? And so that's really important. I think when it comes to inspired, really, what I probably want to preface it this way. I like to inspire people, and therefore, by inspiring people, I'm also inspired, right? You know, I listen to a lot of different speakers, and I try to hear people share their stories. You know, this afternoon I went out and I met a gentleman, and he was sharing his story about how he became a lawyer, right? And his story with his father and what they went through, and that inspired him to be a lawyer. And so I love those things, right? You see that he has purpose. He has intent in why he's doing things. And so for me, that's how I look at my life, right? Like, I'm inspired by my experiences and the things that I see, and it pushes me and fuels me each and every day to keep going, right? And to go again and to try something new and to fall down and stand up again. So I'm a person, I think I'm just inspired generally, and love, because I see the value in people, every single person that I come across. And, you know, some people are not always the best to be around, but they deserve to be loved. And they have value, each individual person. We don't always know their story and why they do the things that they do, but they deserve to be loved. And so, you know, I think those are the things that are important to me. I want to be able to demonstrate love. I want to inspire people, and I want to be passionate.
What would you say are some new skills that a person would need to possess to run a successful brokerage, even after they've had a successful career as an agent? Talk to us about that.
Great question. What are some of the skills?
Yes.
Once again, when you're a successful agent, and this is me now over the couple years I've been here now, speaking with different agents at various levels, you need to be a successful agent. You're great at communication and sales and that sort of stuff. You know, you're building a pipeline. You know how to underwrite deals. You know how to do the job as a mortgage agent. Okay. Now, depending on what you're trying to build from the brokerage level, if you're trying to build a brokerage where you have, you know, a large team, a large amount of agents, you have a staff, that sort of stuff, I think some of the skills that you're going to need to have, one is just people skills, right? The soft skills. You know, when I worked in the investment industry, a lot of the people who were promoted were people who were very good at the technical skills. They weren't as good with people skills, which meant then sometimes there was going to be a high turnover. If you want to establish a long-term business, you have to be able to manage people, right? And to communicate effectively, and to be able to you know, have them understand what it takes to be successful as an individual able. You have to be able to communicate that, right? As you go up the scale, you can't be everything to everybody, right? You know, I spoke to one principal broker, this is about 2 weeks ago, and he's reviewing every single deal. He's doing all of the training, right? He's running around and doing all these things. And it's like, even though you're good at that, your team will only grow to about 4 or 5 people.
Yeah, that's destruction for burnout right there.
Of course it is. You can't scale that way. So if your goal is to scale, you have to be able to train or delegate certain things and trust that you can put the people in place in order to do those things. Or you need to have systems that can do that for you, right? So I think those would be the things I would say first, is being able to manage people, you know, in lieu of not having processes and systems in place. I think that would be really important. Another skill that I would say is important, I won't say skill, but if you're building any business, you need to have data. And the reason is because you want to get to a point where you can pinpoint where there are, I guess, bottlenecks or things are falling through the cracks on your business. Once again, if you're working in the business, you can't work on the business, which are those things, right? But the data is going to help to enlighten you as to where those things are, right? You know, my applications are falling through. I'm not getting to the, you know, to the underwriting stage, or they're not closing through. Like, you've got to be able to see the business overall. So you've got to have somewhat of an analytical mind that wants to look at those things, right? And really monitor the details. I would say those would be some of the two things I would say that would be important to take on.
What are some tips that you can tell for somebody, like, for them to build their mindset up more in order to take that on and, you know, be able to let go and grow upwards?
So, you know, you look at the background there, you got Michael Jordan. Okay, if it was my basement here, you'd have a Kobe Bryant, right?
There you go.
So we have somewhat similar. We like the similar type guys, right? So Kobe's my guy, but one of the things that I really loved about Kobe, one is that he had a vision early on, right?
I'm still with you, don't worry.
Yeah, he had a vision early on. Like, he wanted to be the best, right? So he had a real clear vision, and he worked on that day after day after day. So, you know, having a clear vision of what your ideal scenario will look like, right?
Yeah.
That picture, when you have that picture in your head, regardless if you know how to get there, I think that's the first step. And I'll give you this example. We recently moved into our home in June, right? So we had our first home.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And we bought our new home in June. I love the place I'm in. But I tell you what, I remember when my wife and I were in the apartment. Small apartment, we struggled to pay for it, sirens everywhere, police going. And I used to walk around the neighborhood close by and look at these nice houses. And I had a vision in my mind that says, okay, when I have the house, I want these amount of garage, I want the bathroom to look like this. I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I knew what I wanted. And it's funny, by having that clear vision, as time went on, and as I improved myself financially and professionally and that sort of stuff, it allowed it to, the path to the vision became clearer, right? So I think one of the first things, if you're trying to go that way, is you know, have a clear vision of where you want to go. What should that ideal brokerage look like, or team, or whatever it is that you're doing? What should it look like? And then I would say, start surrounding yourself with people that are around that journey, right? Like, I didn't know how it was possible until I started to speak with somebody who had a home, and, you know, I was like, oh, this was the down payment, and, you know, maybe you need to look at this side of the city. Because it was in my mind and I was talking about it, then those conversations would come up and I would learn.
They come about.
Right. You know, so for example, yourself, you know, in the mortgage business, you've established a great business, and somebody wants to get in and to learn how to build something like you have, I'd say, you know, talk to Andre. Firstly, see how you can provide value, right? You know, nobody who's achieved this top level just wants you all day milking them for value, but, you know, build that relationship, get to know, how does Andre, you know, behave? Where does he go? What does he think? What does he do? What questions does he ask, right? One of the reasons I'm inspired about your podcast is because, you know, something I said I would love to do. So I jump on to learn and listen to the conversations or the questions that you ask, right? The preparation that you have, the laugh that you have at the beginning, right? Like, all of those things I pay attention to. So if you're looking to build a brokerage, pay attention to someone who's further down the road than you. Ask those questions. Start to emulate those things. Fail a little bit, but try.
How pivotal was mentorship in your career, right? And do you remember the first time you knew that you needed a mentor? Because it's important we reflect on this.
Great question. You know what's so funny? I don't know if anybody knows Nipsey Hussle, right?
Nipsey Hussle, yes, for sure, for sure.
You know, the late
Rest
Nipsey
in
Hussle,
peace.
rest in peace. And he said, you know, you don't have to give me game, I'll steal it, right? He's like, I pay attention, right? So, you know, firstly, the role of mentorship for me was hugely important, but I don't think any of those people would know that I saw them as a mentor. Like it wasn't an official
direct
thing.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be your mentor and I'm going to, you know, it wasn't like that. But we established a relationship and there was enough trust there that I could come to them for things, you know, more than just my job, right? And we could talk candidly and strategic about things that may be above my pay grade, you know, because they saw that I was somebody who wanted to, iron sharpens iron. I wanted to grow. And so having people who are further down the road than you is important. And you can see anybody as a mentor, right? It doesn't have to always be so official, right? We've got this idea that, you know, I'm going to go and I'm going to run and I'm going to get you coffee, I'm going to do your dry cleaning, and you're going to teach me how to be the best mortgage agent ever. But sometimes it's just having those conversations. Like one of the gentlemen at our brokerage, Michelle Duran, you know, I would consider him a mentor. Now, do we have lots of conversations all the time? No. But you know what? Some things that he says sticks with me. You know, he said to me one time, and I'll never forget it. He's sitting there over coffee in the coffee room, and we're talking about business and how he became successful and this and that. And he said to me, Leighton, let me tell you something. Yes, we'll get you liked, but no will get you respect. I was like,
huge.
Makes sense. And
powerful.
It's powerful. And it's not to know that I'm a jerk, you know, no, I'm a jerk. But it's no because you understand who you are, what you're doing, you're protecting your time, your value, you know, you're building relationships with people. It's okay to say, no, I'm not the right solution for you. And that is what gets the respect. And so, you know, I'm a person who's ambitious and driven, and I want to say yes, I'll find a way to get it done. But sometimes you have to say no. And that no is what gets you respect. And that's something I learned from somebody who I'd consider a mentor, right? So, you know, in terms of the first time, I don't really know, but I would like to say that I've had many mentors throughout my career, and I value each and every one of them. And in my phone, I keep a track of things like that people share with me as well. So all of those people I'd consider a mentor for me.
At the end of the day, new agents, what advice do you have for a new agent to soar in their career?
Great question. For a new agent, the first thing I would say is be patient, right? Be patient. It's a whole other conversation, talk about selecting brokerages and choosing the right brokerage and all of that sort of stuff. But nobody that you see who's made it and been successful in that business did it overnight. They made mistakes. They had the same fears that you have, talking to clients and not knowing what to say, and I don't know how to find a lender, and all of these things, right? They all went through that journey, and the journey of those mistakes and finding your way is what makes you valuable at the end. It's because you've been through it. So for a new agent, I would say be patient, stick at it. Don't settle for, oh, the market is tough right now, interest rates are high, nobody can get deals done, they're going to the bank. Don't settle for that. You're there to become better at what you do every day. And if you focus on those things, eventually you'll be able to find a way to help your clients and build those relationships. It will come. But be patient, be consistent, be diligent, and you'll be fine.